Auditory attention opens the verbal thinking pathway.
My own situation, I think, is also one of auditory processing problems and strong visual. In a crowded room, I can barely understand what people are trying to say to me. It's very, very difficult, very frustrating.
The auditory attention skills are parallel to the visual attention skills. The symptoms of mavericks, if left untrained, have a serious impact on your whole life. That is why improving these skills at any age is critical. Maria is learning how to use visual support to help improve her auditory attention. She's learning how to use her auditory zoom lens. Caleb is learning to pull keywords from the song. When he hears an animal name, he says beep.
Beep, beep. Beep, beep. Beep, beep.
Caleb was barely speaking when we first met. As his auditory discrimination improved, he was able to learn how to speak in paragraphs very fluently. Al is teaching his dad to discriminate sounds and guess what they are. By working with parents and kids together, we build a failure-free partnership, which increases the intimacy of the family unit in lots of wonderful ways.
Rewind. Replay. The sound is a fly. Driving man crazy.
Auditory memory is the basis of all language. Auditory and visual attention skills and auditory and visual memory skills have a lot in common. By teaching the visual system first, we see gains on the auditory pathway.
Yeah, we knew he was a bright little kid, and it was just a matter of trying to find the key to unlock a lot of things in him, and we weren't quite getting it.
Henry uses his auditory memory to put words in order, and then as a bonus, he says the words in reverse order, giving his auditory memory a great workout.
Can you move the horse? Which one was last?
Baby.
Okay. Say it loudly.
A baby.
Okay, good job. Okay, which one was next before the baby? Good job.
When Henry began, his parents felt that his attention, memory, focus, and concentration were interfering with his ability to learn and communicate. His parents were worried that these deficits were reducing Henry's ability to benefit fully from school and frustrate his teachers.
He sprung a few surprises to spice the party up, like filling up a bathtub with homemade lemonade. He had a
Bath towel.
cake with white icing.
Sit down.
The scare for me.
Caleb is learning how to remember keywords from auditory memory in a complex song that has a beginning, middle, and end. Caleb's visual system was fighting his auditory, and we are teaching him to integrate them so that his visuals help him communicate.
Gumdrops.
Robert and Al test their parents on auditory memory tasks. Both Robert and Al were thought to have attention deficits at school. Teachers thought they were uninterested or unmotivated. By teaching their parents, they learned to transfer and generalize to daily life. Attention and memory are the foundation for successful use of the brain's central executive. The brain's central executive is responsible for selecting the right brain system for the task at hand.
We also know that she is from the beginning has been good at puzzles and things like that, but her organizational skills and her sense of time seem to get in her way.
Because the sequencer is very important in all language tasks, we begin the very first day teaching sequencing as part of the reinforcer. Henry is matching pictures to allow his visual attention to support his sequencing as he hears the story of Baby Beluga.
Way down yonder where the dolphins play.
Orca.
They do look like orcas, I agree.
Dolphin orca.
To advance his sequencer further, Henry is learning to self-evaluate by putting his own coins in his bank. See how Travis responds to the continuous, fixed ratio, and variable sequencers.
We're working on visual zoom lens and the sequencer. Travis is going to find the items in the hidden picture, and I will use the pennies in the cup as a sequencer. And at the end, he'll trade his pennies in for some pretzels. Okay.
Hey, no, that wasn't done.
Dakota is learning to think in time sequences. She's moving information from her language processors in 10-second increments, and she is estimating and planning how she will manage for herself.
I can't see.
I know, it's hard to see. Okay, stop.
Let's go for 7. And if you get more than 7
In 30 seconds?
in 30 seconds,
Okay.
then that's better than your goal. But you just try to remember 7 in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. Tell me what you got.
Fork, telephone, cup, hook, bunny, crown, fish, glove, bow tie, tie, and hammer.
So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'm missing so.
11. So you
I'm-
got 11.
Okay.
The associator is the very powerful engine of visual thought. Henry, like his visual mom, a New York City attorney, uses his associator to think. To achieve central executive control, we harness the associator so that it helps Henry self-manage his own thoughts. He's learning to associate pictures with letters to develop his sound symbol relationships.
We're going to buy. That's right. 5 things we're going to buy. The merchants down on Market Street were opening their doors. I stepped along that Market Street and stopped at all the stores. Such wonders there on Market Street, so much to catch my eye. I strolled the length of Market Street to see what I might buy. A, apples. B, books. C, clocks. D, donuts. And E, eggs.
F, flower.
You're right. That's a bonus point. A was
Apple.
good job.
The apple.
Robert is learning to use his visual brain to draw pictures to form an association and then store and retrieve data based on a pattern. In the past, Robert's ability to associate would lead him to a kaleidoscope of thoughts.
Alright, so this is a word wheel, and it's got 16 spaces, and we got to fill each of those spaces up with 3-letter words, and you fill the next one up by changing one letter in the word that you've got. So you'd go from fix to fox, for example.
Okay. And so the next one would be from fox to box.
Yep. And it would be from box to bow.
And then from bow to toe.
Cow.
By learning to use his associator together with his sequencer, he can maintain clear understanding efficiently. Vanessa is working on filing and storing ideas through her associator to develop fluency.
A is for seed, which is tomorrow's apple. B is for eggs, which becomes tomorrow's birds. C is for milk, which becomes tomorrow's cheese. D is for puppy, which becomes tomorrow's dog. And E is for campfire, which becomes tomorrow's embers. Can you write down the 5 things and what they become at tomorrow? And Vanessa, can you read your list?
A is for seed, which becomes an apple. B is for eggs, which becomes a bird. C is for milk, which becomes cheese. D is for...
Vanessa uses these work-smart thinking skills in law school. Mavericks tend to overuse the visual pathway, leaving the auditory language pathway underdeveloped. By strengthening the channel switcher, we create fluency in moving to either pathway. Here we will hear Henry's mom describe how she uses Henry's visuals to help him lengthen his time in verbal land. She's teaching him to move back and forth from his visual to his verbal by using his channel switcher.
Yes, I think that's absolutely true. I mean, I was amazed by how the visual refreshers help when you're doing a very verbal task like a book. And there are some books that we don't need to use them anymore, and some, particularly when we're introducing new materials, that it's amazing. You can do a couple of pages of a book and you can kind of see that it's getting a little hard for him. And you put one of these hidden pictures in front of him and say, find the butterfly. And he finds it, and it takes 2 seconds, and you put it aside, and then he goes back to the book, and there's sort of a sense of renewal from him.
Duh.
Do you need a hint? Okay, let's look. Good job. Can you find the butterfly? Good job. And E was?
Eggs.
Good job. Nice work.
Travis is learning a song using his associator to pair states and products. He is then moving the data to his language processors to give us the answers. He's associating on the visual pathway and hearing on the verbal pathway.
Arizona. Georgia. Maine.
Al instructs his mom to move symbols to sounds as he teaches her to switch from pictures to words. She's learning unfamiliar words and associating them with unfamiliar symbols to evaluate how she can learn new material.
Cly. This is Vong. Point to Vong. Find Vong. Find Cly.
William and Al are working on associating novel symbols with familiar words to see how the associator can assist in word retrieval.
This is cowboy. Say cowboy.
Cowboy.
This is dog. Say dog.
Dog.
This is horse. Say horse.
Horse.
This is and. Say and.
And.
So what does this say?
Cowboy and horse. Dog and horse. Cowboy and dog.